Hello, vinyl community people. It's Mike MGK Boston back with another classic shirt from the summer collection. Yes, this beer is making me awesome. Today I'm just doing a recent finds video. This is kind of cumulative, probably stuff I've picked up over the past, I don't know, 2 months or so. It's been a while since I've done one of these. These are mostly, I'd say 100% of these records I picked up at a local shop here in my town here. So yeah, my town here, by the way, at mile 10 of the Boston Marathon is the center of the town center of where I live is mile 10. Then you only have 16.2 more to go to get to the finish line. So on that subject, I just wanted to thank everybody who's responded to that thread I just started on a whim last weekend, the run thing. So thanks to those that put up a response. That's really cool. And yeah, humility out the window. Here's some hardware from this is from the New York City Marathon back in November 2014. So 5 boroughs of fun, beginning in Staten Island, you roll into Brooklyn and then into Queens, then into the Bronx, and then you finish in Central Park. Kind of a funny memory of that at mile 21. I was going up this huge hill in Central Park, and this poor guy was kind of funny. I assume he recovered, but just went down on his knees, projectile vomiting like in The Exorcist. It was outrageous, but I think it was just dehydration. No fatalities in that race. So yeah, anyway, just the stuff that you see in a marathon. It's it can be fun, but it can also be quite painful. But anyway, enough about running. This is about running to the record store. So again, recent finds. So I got like a dozen here to show. So I'm gonna get cracking. So all right. We've got Paul Kantner, Grace Slick, and David Freiberg, all former members, of course, of Jefferson Airplane. The name of this release is called Baron von Tollbooth and the Chrome Nun. That's a mouthful, isn't it? Baron von Tollbooth and the Chrome Nun. Really great psychedelic rock this here from 1973. Just really weird, freaky artwork on the front. Almost looks like a medical textbook. But there's a bunch of special guests on this. David Crosby's on this. Jerry Garcia, Mickey Hart as well from the Grateful Dead. I believe Jerry Garcia is playing slide guitar on this one. So if you were to look up any of the tracks on this, the title track is excellent. Again, Ballad of the Chrome Nun. There's a song called Fat. Across the Board is excellent. It's all really good. Grace Slick sings on most of these. I think she wrote 6 of the 10 cuts or so on this. There's the lyrics on the inside. More freaky artwork there. So that's, again, Kantner, Slick, and Freiberg, Baron von Tollbooth, and the Chrome Sun. Excellent find that. Really happy with that. All right. This is going to about 1986 on this one. This is the Golden Palominos out of New York City. This is produced and arranged by band leader Anton Freer. If I'm saying that right, he spells it F-R-I-E-R, or F-I-E-R, sorry, Anton Freer. He's a drummer, but he was, again, like the band leader. So this band was almost like a collective, people coming and going. And he was the primary in the band, but people like, you had even John Lydon was in for a while, Michael Stipe in and out. On this particular album, the vocal stylings here of, what's her name? Sid Straw. And Sid Straw became a good singer-songwriter in her own right, I believe. But their music was kind of framed as, or described as avant-garde. This is not avant-garde. This is really in my wheelhouse. It's kind of alt country, if you will. So yeah, I've Been the One is the song you really would want to look up on this one. Again, featuring the vocal stylings of Sid Straw. She was actually a backup singer with Pat Benatar before this, and then got her wheels moving in her own direction. Yeah, and also Matthew Sweet sings on this one as well. I'm not sure which song here. They're all listed here. T-Bone Burnett's playing guitar on this at points. Like I said, it was a who's who of people coming and going. But again, the name of this release, particular one, is called Blast of Silence. And it's really excellent. Yeah, again, I've Been the One is good. The Push and the Shove is another one, too, to look up on here. And that's featuring the vocals of a guy named Robert Kidney. I don't know much about him. And Jack Bruce is actually on this, too. Jack Bruce, of course, of Queen fame. He sings on this song called Something Else is Working Harder. So, yeah, really excellent. The Golden Palominos. 1986. And we're going back, dial it back a couple of decades here. The great Chuck Berry, there he is right there. So this was nice to find. ring wear on this, but the record itself is in perfect condition. I would say very good plus per Discogs description. And again, this is his best from 1955 to 1965, and it's called Golden Decade. It's a double album on the Chess label. Beautiful gatefold. There's Chuck right there doing his thing. Yeah, I've been looking for a Chuck Berry compilation, and every time I find them, they're always beat up and terrible shape. But again, this again on the Chess label right there, you can see. And yeah, there's no surprises here. All the hits are here, and they're all great. Yeah, I got into Chuck Berry a lot just because I'm a big George Thorogood fan, and of course this is I would call as George Thorogood. George Thorogood would call Chuck Berry rather his mentor, I would say. But and the Grateful Dead did a lot of covers like, you know, Roll Over Beethoven, Johnny Be Good, No Particular Place to Go. Was also done by George Thorogood. Yeah, Sweet Little 16, Rock and Roll Music. Again, it's a double and it's great. They're all here. One more look at Chuck. There he is. And that again, Golden Decade, double LP. Great set of tunes, great. All right, and like I do, I jump all around in the genres. You just never know what's coming. And here we go with a little dancehall reggae here. It's Gregory Isaac's. This is pretty funny. I'll get to it in a second, but I was thinking about making this video. So this is a live album, and this was released in 1984. And he was arguably at his peak right here. And there he is, Sharp Dressed Man. And there he is on the back again. Really like Gregory Isaacs. I had this, look out, again, Sharp Dressed Man, but I have this CD, which is like a compilation of best of. I bought this probably 25 years ago. So he's not so sharp dressed here, and he's blazing one here on the cover. Must have been Casual Friday that day for Gregory. Anyway, back to this. So this is a live set. Comes in hot with Number One is the name of the song, and it's the first song. That was a big single for Gregory Isaacs. And Oh What a Feeling, there's a version of that on here. Sunday Morning, Mr. Brown. This is all good. And of course he was on Island. Yeah, he's on the Island label, but this is a different logo for Island, but you can see there in very small, there's the I right there for Island. Island Records, they had a lot of reggae acts on that label, as well as a lot of good rock and new wave stuff in the 80s too on Island. So there's Gregory Isaacs live. And in the same day, someone must have brought in a collection of reggae. There was a lot of good stuff that day, and I picked up this. This is from the following year after that live album. This is from 1985. It's a private beach party with Gregory Isaacs. Looks kind of like a boring party if it's just Gregory Isaacs there. There's no chicks. There's what's going on here? It's just him. It's private. And it's Gregory Isaacs. There he is, and he's even got his little table for one there and his bottle of whatever he's drinking there. So anyway, title track, Private Beach Party, Wish You Were Mine, Better Plant, Some Lovin'. This is just a really solid album. At this point, yeah, he's on a different label on this one. It's real authentic sound. I've never seen that before. So maybe if anybody else, any reggae fans, chime in and let me know. A real authentic sound. Not familiar with it, but I am familiar with this record. I've played it 3 times already. I love it. And that's Gregory Isaacs. All right, and here we go. It's Mark Allman, not to be confused with the synth pop act of the same name. I believe they spelled it M-A-R-C. Anyway, these are 2 guys, John Mark and Johnny Allman. Yeah, John Mark and Johnny Allman. John Mark on classical guitar, Johnny Allman on baritone and tenor sax. There they are right there, the 2 guys. So they had played with John Mayall and the Blues Breakers. There, another shot of the guys. So this is what I would call jazz pop, in the same vein as Steely Dan, but a little more sophisticated than Steely Dan, I would say. And this album was kind of a reunion. They'd been on a hiatus for a couple of years, and this one's from 1976. I've got quite a few Mark Allman now. My last count, this will be my 5th. I just really like it because it's got that, it's got the jazz sensibility to it. And side 1 is great. They open with they have a medley here. It's New York State of Mind. They do a cover of that. And Return to the City. The City was a song on one of their, I think it might have been on their debut. Again, the song's just called The City, and they do kind of a reprise or a new version of that on here called Return to the City right there. And again, this is Mark Allman, To the Heart, the name of this one, from 1976. All right, where are we here? Yes, it wouldn't be an MGK video without a little classic country. It's Hoyt Axton. Of course, this guy was from the States, based in California when he was active. He started as tried to be a television star. He was on a season or two of Bonanza. That was a television show in the mid to late 60s here in the United States. But then he was a songwriter. So he actually wrote a couple of big hits for some other bands here. Wrote a song called The Pusher here, right there on side 2. You can see it. And this is just for Steppenwolf. This is the collection called Gold. So that writing credit goes to Hoyt Axton for that one. And he also wrote Joy to the World and Never Been to Spain. Never Been to Spain is on this particular Three Dog Night album called Harmony right here. But yeah, he wrote 2 songs for Three Dog Night again. Joy to the World and The Pusher. Or no, not The Pusher with Steppenwolf. Joy to the World and Never Been to Spain he wrote for Three Dog Night. So back to Hoyt. There he is. So this is pretty good. It ventures. It's not twangy country and western. I would almost put it in at points, because some of his songs are kind of comical, like the No No song where he talks about doing a lot of cocaine. No, I don't do that anymore. He talks about whiskey. No, I don't drink that anymore. And it's kind of a comical song, like a Jimmy Buffett song. But there's a who's who on here as far as guests on this album. So Linda Ronstadt sings with him on a couple of songs here. Yeah, here, Line in the Winter's one song, and Linda's on here. There she is, duet vocal with Linda Ronstadt. And then there's another one on here with Linda. Yeah, it's Sweet Misery right there. So again, this is Hoyt Axton Road Songs. This is a collection, I want to say, from mid-70s, 75 or 76. And yeah, I first ran into Hoyt Axton. Well, I didn't physically run into the guy, but I used to watch a show. It was a sitcom in the U.S. here called WKRP in Cincinnati. And he made a guest appearance one time, and he played Lonnie Anderson was the receptionist on that show. And he rolls up, and he was like her old boyfriend. It was kind of a funny episode. And that was when I first saw Hoyt Axton. So anyway, cool name, Hoyt Axton, just rolls off the tongue. Here we are, and I mentioned John Mayall earlier with reference to Mark Allman. This is a live album, as it says. It's jazz blues fusion. Side 1, I believe, is in Boston. And yeah, side 1 is Boston. Side 2 is in New York City. You can see right here. Yeah, side 1, Boston. So it's called Jazz Blues Fusion because he was a bit of a collective himself, like the Golden Palominos I mentioned earlier. The band was, of course, centered around him. Piano and harmonica being his primary instruments. I'm talking about John Mayall. And then on this one, he brought in a couple of jazz guys. So he's got these 2 guys, Clifford Solomon on sax and Blue Mitchell on trumpet. These 2 guys up here, and they were jazz musicians. So, but it doesn't play like a jazz album. And it doesn't play like a jazz fusion album. It's not all over the place. There's clear direction on these jams. And yeah, I just can't recommend this enough. This is really excellent. This is one that I had on compact disc, but I saw it for $5, and as the saying goes in the vinyl community, I just couldn't leave it there. So I grabbed it, and it's really terrific. There's John Mayall right there. Some of the highlights on this one, Good Time Boogie is one that's just truly representative of how good a jam can be. And Exercise in C major for harmonica, bass, and shufflers on side 2. And Country Road opens up. It's good. Well, this whole thing is great. And live in Boston and New York. Excellent, excellent. All right. Peter Frampton, this is his 3rd, and it's self-titled. This was just the warm-up for Frampton Comes Alive, which would come out a year later in 1976, featuring a lot of the songs that were on this album. Of course, Show Me the Way, Penny for Your Thoughts, and I'll Give You Money. Those all appeared on Frampton Comes Alive. There he is right there on the back. Very young Peter Frampton. He's as bald as me these days. I saw him in 2000, and that was actually a show in Cleveland. I was down there to see a friend of mine, and went to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and went to see Peter Frampton. So that was pretty cool. So there you can see him inside. Of course, he was on A&M. So yeah, Peter Frampton, just self-titled there. All right. This is going to surprise a few people. May surprise you, maybe not. Duran Duran. Let's get that in here. So this is their 3rd studio release, one of their biggest ones too. And this was from 1983, featuring the vocal stylings of Simon Le Bon. Where's Simon on here? There he is. So yeah, in high school, I would have been caught dead with this in my collection. But you know what? Music taste is a fluid thing. And I really, looking back, they're a pretty talented band. And actually a good friend of mine from college, he was from Toronto. Of course, I went to school in Ottawa. And this friend of mine, Ron, the video for the Reflex, if you've ever seen it, there's a part in it because they're on stage, it's a concert. And it was actually filmed in Toronto. I believe at Maple Leaf Gardens. And my friend Ron, he's in the video because he's down near the front row and they have this fake water, like a wave coming out over the crowd. And he was in that video. So I always think that's pretty cool. I think of him whenever I hear that song, The Reflex. So New Moon on Monday is another one on here. And yeah, it's Union of the Snake. They were making videos, big videos for all those songs that I just mentioned. And this is their third, Seven and the Ragged Tiger. It's Duran Duran. All right. Still in the 1980s here. This is Mike Oldfield, multi-instrumentalist, arguably a genius, I would say, called QE2, not to be confused with the cruise ship, but I think it might be because on the inner sleeve, he has a map of a ship, like a deck plan. So it's a who's who on this one of personnel playing on this. You've actually got Phil Collins playing drums on a couple of tracks on here. And this is when he first teamed up with the Scottish gal, Maggie Riley, as a singer, because primarily Mike Oldfield records are all instrumental. This one has some vocals on it again, like I said, with Maggie Riley. Side one, yeah, the song Taurus 1, right there. And you can see that that has Phil Collins right there on drums. That's a long instrumental, again, called Taurus 1. And they also do on this one, shout out to my friend Gary at Physical Format Rock and Roll. They do an excellent version of ABBA's Arrival. So Gary, please go over on YouTube and look up this Mike Oldfield version of Arrival and compare it to the original by ABBA and see what you think. Drop a comment. And that's QE2, Mike Oldfield. And of course, that song Taurus 1, as I just mentioned, I wanted to bring this up, would be a precursor to Taurus 2, right there on his, the album. This was the follow-up, and it's called 5 Miles Out. So just for giggles, I thought I'd throw that in. So Taurus 1 and Taurus 2, and that's Mike Oldfield. All right, I'm juggling around here in the vault. All right, and this is probably going to complete all the Steve Miller I need. I have the first 5, and those are the best, in my opinion, when he was still doing a lot of psyche, bluesy style before he got really popular in the 1970s. This is his second album called Sailor, and it's a follow-up to this one. I think I showed this one not long ago, Children of the Future. This is their debut. Really, really, really recommend that one. And this, again, is not to be missed either. This is, again, the follow-up, like I said, Sailor. That's the same photo, it looks like, is on the front here, and there's a boat because they're Sailor. Opens with Song for Our Ancestors. Of course, Living in the USA was a single from this one, and that's a really good one. And the original version of Gangster of Love is on this too. Quicksilver Girl is great, and Lucky Man. This is all good. Really excellent guitar player, Steve Miller. This early stuff often gets overlooked in favor of Steve Miller, Greatest Hits, 1976. I mean, yeah, that's fine. Put it in the background at a party, but that early stuff, really, really great. And then lastly here, in this recent Finds video, we've got George Duke. He's a jazz guy, piano guy. There's George right there. But this one veers into almost rock territory at certain points. There's a guitar player here from the jazz world by the name of Lee Ritenour, and he plays on this one. And there's one particular track on here. It's called, Rock and Rowell, right there. You can see, and it plays almost like Lee Ritenour is a jazz guitar player, but he starts ripping on like Jimi Hendrix style. So it's pretty cool stuff. Where's Lee on the back here? There's Lee Ritenour right there. Anyway, jazz fans out there, you would know Lee Ritenour. So anyway, folks, that was a lot, but I'm just under 20 minutes. So thanks to those that are watching till the end. And so enjoy your Saturday, whatever you're doing. Go for a run. What the hell? Listen to some tunes, crack a couple of cold ones. I know that's what I'll probably be doing later. It's a little early for that. But anyway, have a good one, folks, and I'll see you next time.